which is very difficult for a politician to understand herself that way. But I will abuse this situation, and of course, I mean, it was a fascinating day, I think, and obviously there's no way to summarize everything. I just picked up some pieces, bits and pieces, which I still remember, and this is what I would like to share with you, and also to sum up for myself, because I'm a self-reflective, learning politician who has to struggle with Viktor Orban every day, so I need input to do it as successful as possible. So we started somewhere in the morning with a clash of values and clash of identities, and I think this is something it's an important point for today, and divided societies. Probably societies are always divided in a certain level, but there are historic times when these divisions are less visible and people are more, or the society is more cohesive, and there are periods of historic periods when it's less cohesive, and we are living now in a time when it's less, and economic problems and the collapse of communism and the globalization and various others, not necessarily only economic reasons, trigger this kind of clashes and divisions which we will have to live together. And we came very quickly to the populism and extremism, which we understood, many of you understood as kind of response to these social clashes and divisions. I think there were quite a lot of analysis of what populism, what are the sources, and why people believe in populist politicians. I think there are many reasons, and probably populists are not the same. You also said that populism is very adaptive, very pragmatic. It can be very contextual. What probably is similar in every populist force is that they try to find easy answer for complicated issues. They say, don't trust them, they are liars, and we will save you. I think this was a pretty good summary of general nature of the promise of populists. And I think that the fact that they seem to be anti-establishment is something very important everywhere. So we are not one of you, even those seem to be anti-establishment who are there not for a few years, which is, I would say, pretty established. So I think it's very important that we understand the nature of populism in order to find some kind of relevant response, and we can fight against, because it's obvious for me that populistic forces undermine those European values that I think we like-minded people all around this table. There were some analyses of what EU institutions, member countries made badly, what kind of mistakes were made in the last years, whether momentum for appropriate response was lost, whether things were badly managed, where Europe is now too interdependent in order to make responsive answer for challenges. Somehow we agree that the European Union and its institutions show some kind of incompetency because the populist forces are growing. You said they poison the political arena, and I think actually this is very true. Just one example, in Hungary between 2010 and 2013, so just within 3 years under the Orban populism, it was 5-6% reduction of the people who are open to immigrants, on an inclusive society. So these are social psychological examinations which can demonstrate that within 3 years there was serious change in the way of thinking of people. So that is actually, even if they are in minority position, they can change the political discourse and they can change the way of people thinking. And this can be a contamination. So I think it's very true. Challenges are coming from inside, from the parties, and they come from outside. We talked shortly on Russia and Putin and the intervention of Russia to undermine European institutions and European values. We spoke a lot on Hungary, which I, in this context, regard as a pilot case, where populists get a supermajority and therefore can change the world according their populistic view in order to secure power for a long time. And I think that studying Hungary from abroad can bring a lot of important knowledge and understanding how this issue is working and how harmful it can be when it gets to power. In the afternoon, there was a lot of talk of what can be done, what the European Union can be done, who are the stakeholders who have responsibility in changing the situation and stopping all processes which we are not happy about. How the European incompetency can be changed and make the Union more functional in order to gain more space again for European values and liberal democracy. There were quite a lot of dilemmas shared in this room and various focuses on who can be more efficient. I think there were ideas about more integration, European integration is more helpful, whether stronger sanctions should be applied towards those ones who are not fulfilling the rules. There was a talk about the democratic pact. These are usually institutional responsive. Others of you spoke about more organic fight against populism and for European values on NGO basis and involving the citizens, saying that public mood cannot be changed from above, but it needs to be supported by the people themselves. There was a talk about values and education. Most probably, the efforts should be made in various levels, and I like very much the idea of Alliance of Democrats or Alliance for Democracy, where the alliance, the participants of the alliance would be not only politicians, but also civilians, NGOs, media, journalists, and academics who hopefully were saying about the European values and democracy. So then at the very end, there was a very nice discussion about whether the critics of democracy are right, and of course democracy has a lot of shortcomings. It always had. We should remember the father of the European Union, Winston Churchill, who was a really value-based, strong, value-oriented person, who everyone knows his promo is already too boring, but very true that democracy is not perfect, but still the best what can fulfill the values of most people. So I think this is something that can still guide us in times when democracy is in a certain kind of crisis, but we in this like-minded circle believe in these values. The question is how we speak to the heart of people, not only their minds, and political communication, whether this is only political communication or it's more, it is a question for politicians and of course politicians. So think it was fascinating, a lot of important learning points, and I'm very curious how you are going to follow this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.